Hi, Karen. Oh my God, we get to see your beautiful face. Hi, Emily. Hi, Jeff. I'm so happy your screen's back up, Karen.
She's like, me too.
um,
Yay, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year to you
Andrew,
too.
Happy New
Karen
Year,
is our director of ministry. She has been for 20 years. She just
Karen. Nice to meet you.
literally is our angel for Autism Tree. Jeff's been on our Living Autistically panel at our neuroscience conference and been on our committee for neurodiversity. Jeff's
Mhm.
in Massachusetts. Happy New
Nice to
Year.
meet you, Jeff.
Happy New
Happy
Year
New
to you
Year.
too.
Hi, Tamar. So nice to see you too.
Hi, nice to see everyone. Thank you,
Hi,
Dana.
Tim.
Thank you.
Andrew, Tamar is one of our rock star moms.
Hi,
Oh.
nice to meet you,
Thank
Tim.
you. Nice to meet you, Andrew.
This whole phone call is about strong moms. So we're hopefully going to be able to connect and share some experiences.
Thank you.
Mars in the
Hi,
Chula Vista
Emily.
area.
Who's from Chula Vista?
Oh,
Tamar.
I am.
Tamar, you're from Chula. I'm an OG Chula Vista guy. Are
Oh,
you?
are you? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm in newer Chula Vista.
Oh, really? I grew up right off of Telegraph Canyon Road. That's my area, like the Rancho Del Rey, Chula Vista area. Love
Oh, nice. Yeah,
it.
I'm in East Lake, so off of Olympic Parkway and East Lake Parkway
Nice.
by the high school, by East Lake High School.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
nice.
It's very hard to find us local people anymore that are from San Diego. Everybody's from such dispersed other places now. It's hard to find us locals.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, I'll go ahead and get started and then I'll
So,
add people as they come in. So, gosh, I haven't done this in a while.
I know we're both like,
Okay, bear with me, people. Okay, here we go. I'll share my screen. All right. So welcome, welcome. Happy New Year, everyone. A few Zoom rules for those of you who are new or haven't joined in a while. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. I think we have a small enough group that we can make some exceptions to those rules, to that rule. We do recommend speaker view for presentation, although video sharing is optional, though of course we love to see all your smiling faces and chat with you. And you can type all questions and comments into the chat. And we can address them. I'll moderate that as well. And also, I think we'll have a Q&A at the end with our guest speaker. Also, he might be asking you some questions, so feel free to unmute yourself and chat that way too. So you're welcome to do that. And a quick update from Autism Tree. We've hit a new record of new Autism Tree families who have come into our family since January 1st of 2023 to December 31st. We had 766 brand new families, which is 200 more than we did the previous year, which is absolutely insane. And we're so grateful to all of our new families and excited to get them involved this year. And I know we already have a few intakes this year as well. So welcome to all of our new families. We did 556 families last year. So that's way over, which is amazing. So we have 20 programs that obviously Autism Tree offers. They're in San Diego County, and then some of them are hybrid and some of them are virtual. A small percentage of some of our new intakes have been from outside of the state, in different states. So welcome to our other people in different states. Outside of San Diego County as well. We have 9 in person that are going on, 7 hybrid, 4 virtual. I'm still setting the calendars for this year, so definitely check back to our social media for announcements. As of today, though, we have 8 upcoming events coming up this month. Events this week specifically, we have our adaptive dance program, which is restarting for the winter session. It's ages 13 through 24 is this Saturday at noon at Tap Fever Studios in Pacific Beach, our lovely community partner there we've been partnered with since 2019. This week is 13 through 24, and then Next week will be our 6 through 12, ages 6 through 12. So we alternate weeks, different age groups. We still have signups available. So if you'd like to get your family involved, your kid involved, sign up today online at our website. This Sunday, we're all sold out for our sensory friendly morning at the San Diego Children's Discovery Center, which is based in Escondido. We're so excited. This is a new community partnership. One of our moms actually works there. Shout out to Janice Benton. We love her. And she, as a part of a grant, we are able to provide an event for our families for free to attend the Discovery Center. So it's going to be so much fun. Stay tuned on our social media for pictures. We hope to do more of those in the future as well. We have 570 impact videos on our YouTube channel. So subscribe today. We've immensely grown since the pandemic, and we have 138 of these Lunch and Learns that are recorded and on our Lunch and Learn playlist you can access on our YouTube channel. We love every single guest speaker that has ever come on, and they're amazing, and you could access them and the wealth of resources. We have parents, we have professionals, we have researchers, so many good, great guest speakers. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to Dana Hoff, our co-founder and executive director, and she will introduce our guest speaker for today and say a little few words about where we are at Autism Tree this year.
Thank you, Rebecca. You can put me up on the screen first and
Oh,
take
yeah.
the quote down. I'm not ready for that yet. Thank
Sorry.
you. That's okay.
I'm unpracticed. I gotta get.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. It's really, really special to start the year with Andrew as our speaker. I always say that I think there's no accidents. And Andrew, I love that, you are talking about women that are pregnant. And I feel like that is something that autism moms that child get diagnosed with autism, that's something that I was very much talking to every other mom I met that had a young child with autism, is to like, what did you do during your pregnancy? What did you do during your pregnancy? You really have a lot of concerns about that. And so I think, that's kind of like the entry point that we like to get involved with families is as soon as possible when a child's diagnosed with autism. And so I think it's just nice we haven't had anyone with your knowledge, passion, and expertise involved in our foundation. And we're 21 this year, which is incredible to me. Every year is incredible. And stepping back for a moment of reflection, I just wanted to say I feel so much emotion about all of you pretty much on this call. We've done so much work together. Tomorrow with Thomas and our first ever neurodiversity conference, we were building the platform on neuroscience for a decade. And then really now going into Autism Tree being 21, we have, raised a whole generation of kids. And I just, there's no way I could sort of find the words to say how grateful I am for you bringing Thomas to Autism Tree tomorrow and having Thomas be part of the neurodiversity panel. I think he really brought an extra special light on our adults, because I'm blanking right now. Tamar, how old is Thomas?
He's 46.
Yeah. And just so everyone knows, Tamar is a ray of light beyond imagination. There's no exaggeration. Thomas does not have the love and support he needs in his life. And Tamar has definitely been that for him. You guys are neighbors. And Tamar,
We're neighbors. Yeah.
yeah. Do you want to say anything about your relationship with Thomas? Because I think it's so special and it's a highlight of last year. And I just wanted a moment of reflection for 2023.
So I live here in a gated community. So we, a lot of us see the same neighbors walking our dogs. So we kind of sometimes, the dog's name. Sometimes you don't know the neighbor's name. So I just would see Thomas walking and he was just kind of in his own little world. And I would see him in the neighborhood, and then one day I saw him at Starbucks across the street, and I'm like, "Hey, you're my neighbor. What's your name?" And that's how we just started talking. And early on in our conversations, he revealed to me that he's an author and an illustrator, because at that specific Starbucks, he would do drawings for them, just amazing. And I was like, I said, "That's you," because you walk in and you would see the chalkboard with the Starbucks menu, and I'm like, "Wow, you're so amazing." And so early on, he told me he had autism, and right away I was like, you like the Autism Tree community has to meet you. Like I thought it was going to be a beautiful arrangement if he could just meet all of you. And so it has been. It has given him so much hope. Right now, he's currently working with Danielle on illustrating her children's book about her daughter who has autism. And it's just amazing how it has given him some hope. And he's just always been, weighed down with just heartbreak because his family does not always accept him and who he is. And so now he feels like I that he belongs to this community. And so it was such a honor to see him part of the panel for the convention and the conference, the annual conference. And I was just so proud of him. And his family that he does, he has brothers that he does feel close to. They were so proud of him too. So they recently saw the link of the video of him on the panel. And so I just want to say on behalf of, Thomas and our family, thank you so much for accepting him and just giving him a space for him to be himself.
Yeah. Thank you, Tamar. Andrew, this is like my little moment for you to feel like one family at a time. And, it's such a small world at Autism Tree that you're going to be surprised, Andrew, that it ties into actually who you know and how I met you. You were with Bill. And so Todd and I couldn't go to a Mickelson yacht event. They were celebrating having 100 yachts that they'd sold. And so I know that Bill, who I met Andrew through Bill Van Dusen, and Bill Van Dusen is definitely a huge light to the foundation. His foundation that he sits on the board of, the Kimmel Foundation, has given Autism Tree $100,000 grant last year, and that was an incredible blessing that I can't even describe. I'm just so grateful. And so Andrew, Bill Van Dusen went to this event for Mickelson yachts for Todd and I with his wife. Well, when Tamara was saying that Thomas is working with Danielle, she's an autism mom. She has 4 children. Her husband works for Mickelson Yachts. He was doing that event as a huge event for him. He works on Shelter Island at Mickelson Yachts. He sells Mickelson Yachts. He does a give back program for us. When it was our 20-year anniversary, we actually had a yacht out there at Valley High. And I just think it's such a small world because Thomas is doing the art for a children's book that Danielle Sullivan, who's married to PJ, who sells Mickelson Yachts and does a give back program for us. So it's all just right here, the one family at a time. You're actually seeing something that's so beautiful to me. And I would say it's the metamorphosis of 20 years, right? And so it's like these photos, I kind of manage, like Autism Tree did over 200 events last year on our calendar. And so as an executive director, how do I look at it all? I see everything in photos. And for sure, one of my top 10 photos tomorrow of 2023 is you at a table, I think with your daughter, right? And
Yes,
Thomas.
yes.
How old is your daughter right now?
She's 17.
And she has autism.
Yeah, she was diagnosed at a little bit later, around 10 years old.
Okay. So Tamar's daughter and Thomas is with PJ Sullivan and his wife. And was their daughter there too?
I don't remember.
Yes, their daughter Naya. You sent me
Oh,
pictures.
yes, she
Yes.
was. Yes. Uh-huh.
So I just love it because this one picture, Andrew, is a family where the father sells Mickelson yachts for his whole career and has a beautiful daughter named Naya, who's in a photo with Tamar's daughter, and then Thomas, who's this older man with autism that Tamara's brought to Autism Tree. So in one photo, it's like there's so much history there. And there could only be that because we're 20 years old. And the fact that I have chills thinking, I know this year is the year for Thomas. He's getting to do the graphics of this children's book. He's going to be doing something with his own book. I know at Barnes and Noble this year, and we're just so honored to be a part of it. And could go on and on, but I won't. It's just saying like Autism Tree has been serving one family at a time for 20 years. We're in our 21st year, and I've never stopped having like a soul level connection when I see what I want to see for the foundation, which is doors opening, opening, and the world opening up for our neurodiverse loved ones. And that's what Autism Tree is. We all love someone who is neurodiverse, and we want the best life possible for them. And it's harder for them than other people who life is challenging in general. And so I just think, there's no accident today, Andrew, and I wanted to take a moment to just reflect a little bit on 2023, and that we've taken in more families than we've ever taken on before, new families. We already have thousands of families. We simply couldn't do it if we weren't this like heart-centered organization that is largely all volunteer. And I mean, Rebecca's full-time, I am, and we're going to be bringing on Rebecca, an assistant, which we normally had, but right now that's going to be a big process. And so I think our biggest challenge is an incredible challenge to have right now in the like 10th day of 2024 is just managing all the things that are coming at us. We have so many things that people are wanting to do with Autism Tree and asking us to get involved with, and it's just for us to stay in faith, in true to our core pillars. And that is what I'm going to end with to pass it over to Andrew, is a quote that I'm going to read every day this year because it feels so good to me, and I don't know if it will to you, but I wanted to share it with you. This is my quote I'm reading every day this year to start my day. Spend your hours being love, breathing it in and out, sitting beside trees and animals and good people, being love, not looking for it, desiring it, just being, beaming, radiating, loving the world. And I feel all that love with you guys right now. And I just want to say, thank you also to Jeff and Karen for an incredible effort and a massive amount of work we all did together last year. And just know I'm still soaking in the gratitude for 2023 and trying to get the clarity and stamina and faith to determine what we will focus on that is going to best serve our families for 2024. So thank you, Andrew, for kicking it off.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much, Dana. I love that quote, by the way. I'm glad this is recorded. But hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Again, thank you, Dana. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Rebecca. And thank you, everybody that's joining this call. I'm humbled to be here. So how about this? I'll give you the briefest introduction to myself so you know who you're talking to. And I'd like to talk about pregnancy, fitness, and health today. That's a big part of the reason we're here. And then I want to exercise. I want to move. I want to show off a couple exercises that everybody can hopefully take some golden nuggets from, and even a few exercises on the Bosu balance trainer. Anyone again that has a neurodiversity or not, all this stuff can relate to everybody. So how about this? Again, I'll start with my introduction. I'm born and raised here from San Diego. I went to college at UC Irvine, played baseball there. I spent my last year of eligibility playing at San Diego State. I did spend 4 years at UC Irvine, though. I'd like to talk about this for a brief second. One of my best friends on my college baseball team, his brother had autism. And there was this cool organization that we spent 4 years working with called Best Buddies. And it's an organization that teams up with eh, kids in college and those that have a neurodiversity, a disability, and just being able to hang out and grow with one another. So I shout out to Best Buddies. I think that'd be a cool organization to connect with if you haven't already. But going back to college, I finished at San Diego State with a master's in Homeland Security. I wanted to be a bad guy catcher. And I was quickly swayed to venture down the strength and fitness route. As an athlete, I love working out, I love movement. But you know what? I was the athlete who was riddled with injuries. By the time I was 22, I had 3 knee surgeries, torn this, torn that. And can you imagine just being 22 and living every day in pain? Pain changes people. So I was looking to getting out of pain, and that's what was my influence to become a strength coach. So, being a strength coach, growing my business, I ended up connecting with this organization called WEC Method. And I hope that, again, everyone on this call, this is going to be formally informal. I'd love for you to stop and raise with questions at any time, but I hope you do jot a couple mental notes, or even if you write them out. WEC Method is note number 1. I'd love for you to do some research on them. The owner of WEC Method is the creator of the Bosu ball, the inventor of the Bosu ball. Everybody knows what a Bosu ball is. It's that half blue ball, dome looking tool that's in every gym in the world, basically. So I teamed up with them, and we specialize in functional fitness, really moving outside of the box. Um, I know everybody's familiar with traditional fitness, traditional Olympic style weightlifting. It's all what we call bilateral movements. So you understand, like squats, deadlifts, bench press, everything is bilateral using both sides. There's nothing wrong with it, but we specialize in rotational movement, in teaching people about the gait process, which is the rhythm of what you walk, and a bunch of big unilateral exercises that get your spine moving in all different kinds of ways. So I teamed up with them, and for the past 7 years, we've been training some of the top athletes in the world, Olympic gold medalists, World Series winners, just some of the best international athletes in the world. We just had Barry Bonds walk through the door 2 days ago. And let's just say this, about 3 or 4 years ago, I had my aha moment. I was honestly, and again, this is me being informal, I was honestly bored of training athletes all day. I thought it to be very single-sided, just like, what's all the use in having this knowledge of moving better and getting stronger and getting out of pain, just teaching, the average athletes, and not average, but some of the greatest athletes in the world. Like, what's beyond this? So I was performing this exercise. I had my aha moment, and I was like, you know what? We got to bring all these unique principles to the pregnancy, fitness, and health space. Everything what we do directly applies to pregnant women. Why don't we start there? And the first person I went to was my mother. My mother is a 30-year clinical nurse specialist. She now works in the research and education department at Sharp Hospital. So she is a labor and delivery expert. And I stunned her Sicilian butt when I came to the table saying that her big burly son wants to start a pregnancy, fitness, and health company. But it all made sense. And we started to grow our business from there. So my pregnancy, fitness, and health company is called Built Well for Birth. And for the past 4 years, I truly, with the most humility, I think we're doing such good in the world in terms of giving the most up-to-date training for pregnant and postpartum mothers that is truly strengthening, obviously, the mother, but it's strengthening the whole family. So that's me in a nutshell. My days are crazy. I spend my days training pro fighters 1 hour, the next hour I'm training third trimester woman. But it's all relative to the same principles, and it's all just really good work. So that's me. Let me describe in a brief nutshell Built Well for Birth and how we specifically help pregnant women. Number one, we have obviously live training, we have online programs. So we service the woman in the fitness aspect, and then even labor and delivery training, which I'll go ahead and talk about. And then we also have an accredited coaching certification. So we train professionals, doctors, nurses, doulas, fitness coaches in the way that we in our training methodologies. And now we're certifying people across the world, which is really cool. But again, in a nutshell, this is what we're really, really good at. Number one, we get the woman's core and back stronger than ever in all these unique methods that I'll talk about today. We're really getting the spine to move in all planes. And I mean, let's be real here. When we think about pregnancy complications, what's one of the most foremost things that comes to the table? Back pain. So to alleviate that is a huge burden off the mother. Number two, we teach women how to walk with greater balance. And I know I mentioned gait earlier. Gait is G-A-I-T, but not everybody really understand what gait means. Gait is the rhythm of what you walk. And for those that have knee pain, back pain, neck pain, there's a small possibility the way and posture of which you walk can attribute to that pain. So I mean, I don't have to see a raise a hand, but I know I'm talking to a few mothers out there. As have all of you hopefully heard of the term the pregnancy waddle? It's where like the woman's feet and hips turn an external rotation, and then they lean back, and then they have to waddle like this. That's one of the biggest complications of back pain as well. It's actually an anti-fall move, I've read. We all know that one of the biggest, I mean, if I was a pregnant woman, one of the biggest fears I would have is potentially tripping and falling and potentially harming my child. So what do women do? They tend to lean back to think they get greater balance so they don't trip and fall. But we teach women how to walk like models. There's this scientific theory, there's a scientific principle that we follow in our training. It's called the spinal engine. And the spinal engine states that the spine was created to move in a figure eight. It was created to move. If you think about like the way a model walks down the runway, or the way a lizard has to walk, or a snake, or even like a lion's shoulder blades when they don't walk very stiff, stable in the middle like a robot. They move in a very much of a holistic pattern. So teaching women how to walk better, I know it sounds silly, but could it be one of the simplest and foremost things to get them stronger and out of pain? And then wrapping this up is, I think arguably one of the most important things that we do, ladies and gents, here is we teach women how to push more effectively when it comes to delivery time. We have this unique method called our push practice, and in the past 4 years, we have over 400 mothers in and out of active delivery in less than 10 minutes. Can you imagine that? First time mothers too. It's incredible because our mothers are so understood in the positions and the way to breathe and deal with the contraction pains opportunistically. So we're really, really proud of our push practice as well. And then lastly, which is again would be most important, is the postpartum training, because one of the saddest facts about one of the problems in this industry is you have less than a 50% chance, whether you had a vaginal or a C-section birth, you have less than 50% chance that your doctor refers you to any kind of training or protocol after that baby. It's normally they clean you up in a day or so. If you had a C-section, they kick you out, and good luck putting your core back together after birth if you're not an exercise specialist. So normally you have to go, Google yourself how to strengthen yourself. But I believe what we're doing on the postpartum training side, giving the mothers the support to get their core and back stronger than ever, I think that is a huge, huge benefit to the mother, because we all know about how pertinent, how it's a sad fact how big of a problem the postpartum depression thing is. And I think, again, by servicing the mother on the fitness side, on the emotional side, I think it can do wonders for the mother and the whole family. So that's what we do. We strengthen you, we help you move better, we prepare you for labor and delivery, and then we even support you when it comes to the postpartum time as well. And I've never been so passionate about anything in my life. About 5 years ago, if you asked me if I was going to be owning and running a pregnancy fitness protocol, I'd say you're crazy. But I'm truly in love with what we do. So let's open this up now because I'd like to talk a little bit about you moms out there, a little bit again about some problems and how we can solve them in this space. So I talked about just overall having a lack of resources, a lack of research. Let me bring it to you, Dana. Let me ask you, were you referred any protocol or any program by your doctor on how to get strong safely during pregnancy?
No, definitely not.
And the biggest problem is, even if you went out to a gym, Dana, let's say you went out to the local 24-hour fitness or LA Fitness, 99.9% of the time, any of those professionals are going to be trained on how to care for a pregnant woman in the gym. So it's a very niche field, but here's the overarching, principle. Sports science is a multi-billion-dollar industry. But what about pregnancy fitness and health? It's completely on the bottom of the totem pole. And as we know, if you do a little research, the US is in what's considered a maternal health crisis because of all the different types of birthing complications. So I think what we're doing is such at a niche time and it's serving such an important community of people, the birthing mother who basically sets the tone for the whole family. Again, I'm so blessed and thankful to be doing what I do because it's such fulfilling work. So that's us again.
No, I agree with you, Andrew, even since the first time I met you, is that, I mean, this is what should be a protocol, like where you automatically, if you have an emergency C-section, like I did, I had a really hard time and absolutely should have had I mean, care automatic, but I
Yeah.
didn't have anything special and I wasn't unique. There's many moms that honestly also kids went on to get diagnosed that had emergency C-sections. I think there
Mhm.
was a thread that I saw with that. And so I think it's really amazing that like I said, I think you are an angel that is meant to address this situation. Absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
I think a couple of our moms have been typing in things already on here. Hi, Amy. It's nice to see you too. I saw you type in.
Yeah,
Tamara,
Yeah,
did
so
you want to say something or you wanted to talk about it, Rebecca, what people are typing in?
Oh, I
go ahead.
just wanted to know if you work with doulas, and you did mention that right before you said that I had typed midwife organization. I have a friend, I'm trying to remember the organization, but she's a midwife, her and her mom. They're a midwife duo, and they help with at-home births. And so I was just wondering, do you work with those type of organizations?
Absolutely, we do. Absolutely, we do. We've certified dozens and dozens of doulas. We have a bunch of different partnerships with one. I'm seeing one of my partners. She's a local midwife. Her name is Jess, and she owns a practice on Mount Helix called Mount Helix Midwives and Massage. She's my business partner, but she's also my masseuse. And Wednesdays are my massage days, so I'm seeing her in a couple hours. But yes, absolutely, we do. And you know what? This is what I find, Tamar. Birth workers, midwives, and doulas are some of the coolest people I've ever met. You want to talk about soulful, intentional, and just overall deep people? Midwives and doulas, I could go and hang out with them any day. So I love to work with them. Yeah, if you can, drop their website or something in the group chat. I'd love to
I
research
will
them.
do that. I will do that. I'm gonna look it up really quickly and add it. So thank you. That's great. I'm excited. So just mention my name. Her name is
Oh,
Heather, but I'll put the info on there. Thanks.
So is there any other questions real quick, Rebecca, before we move on?
No, just everybody saying hi. All right.
So the last couple things I wanted to talk about the business, and then I want to talk about some movement and postural stuff. But um, here's some cool updates in terms of where we're at with this pregnancy protocol. Is number one, because of all these unique experiences in women with shorter labor times and lessened chances of birthing complications. In quarter 2, we actually started a clinical research study with one Emory University where we're going to be integrating our protocol with 100 pregnant women to prove that it helps, again, shorten delivery and overall chances of birthing complications. So what a we really, my mother was a firm reminder of this, everyone. My mother said, if Andrew, if you were going to do this, this better be the most medically researched and the most medically supported program out there, or you're wasting your time and you're potentially putting these women in harm's way if it isn't the most researched protocol. So I really feel we're doing the due diligence of holding that standard by go and integrating a research study. So that's really cool. We just recently patented a tool that is going to help women push more effectively. And now we're actually licensing our training education to different organizations like medical insurance agencies, gyms, coaches. So we're really booming in this next year. It's going to be an exciting year. The overall aspect of today is I'm an advocate for strength and movement. And everything that I'm about to display right now really it holds for everyone, whether you're in your 70s, whether you're a pregnant woman, whether you have autism. All these exercises could help the whole family. So how about we get into it? I'd love to start to talk about some of this stuff. Um, the first 3 points that I'd like to teach and talk about is posture, breath, and movement. And let's start with posture. Hopefully y'all can see me well enough. I'll get into a different position if I have to. So let's talk for pregnancy and even those on the autistic spectrum is I'll start top down. Is number one, the kyphotic posture. We all know like the rounded back posture, how the thoracic spine tends to round. This happens in pregnancy. This happens a lot with those on the spectrum as well. And we're going to talk today about, as I demonstrate my exercises, we're going to teach you how to get a little bit more extension out of your thoracic spine by lifting your sternum up. And why that's so important is it's the kyphotic posture is not only a telltale for the neck and back pain, but it also definitely complicates the breathing abilities. And I'm going to talk about breathing in just a second, but if we go top down, number one would be alleviating this kyphotic posture by slightly pushing the chin back and lifting the sternum higher. You're going to look and feel and think. A lot of this, a lot of what we teach at WEC Method, it's very connected with the brain as well. And a lot of these postural tips that I'm going to give you today, not only is it going to make you feel different, it absolutely is going to make you think differently. There's if you can notice this change in posture, if I have this forward slumped type posture, sometimes I tend to also lean back. And look at this dramatic change. If I correct my neck, my thoracic spine, and then I move forward with the dispersing the weight to my feet a little bit more forward. Look at that change again from here to here, and then dispersing my weight forward. I'm so much more of a confident man with my weight dispersed forward. I'm going to talk about the fight versus flight principle today. Everyone's aware of that. You're either going forward and fighting. It relates to the nervous system as well. You're either going forward and fighting, or you're going that way and retreat. So thoracic spine, good cue number one is lifting the sternum and collarbones taller. Let me talk about the feet and the hips and I'll move on. A lot of people whether they're pregnant again or not, but one of the biggest problems is the anterior tilt of the hips. A lot of women had this. I used to have this posture, but this anterior tilt definitely complicates the back and neck pain as well. So whoever's out there and needs this, you solve this by shifting that weight forward, trying your best to not stand with straight hyperextended legs, but having a soft knee bend. And then look at me posteriorly tucking the hips to where my hips are a little bit more underneath my rib cage. And when you do that, you have so much more connection to your pelvic floor and your lower core. If I assess, I do this all day with people. If I assess people and they end up having the anterior tilt, 100% of the time, they have a disconnection to their pelvic floor and their lower core. So thoracic spine, you lift the sternum. With the anterior tilt, you learn to live with a soft knee bend and you tuck the hips. And you get to be in such much of a taller posture. So I could do this for days, but ladies and gents, do you have any questions on those postural tips? Because I'm gonna throw a lot out there today, but these are some of the things I hope you take with you. Is there any questions just about the thoracic spine or the hips? No?
I want to know how you strengthen them. You gonna go over that?
Strengthen them. Good question. You strengthen them first and foremost by gaining the most mobility, and then you get into real direct strength training. And so like exercise number one, which is a good one, Rebecca, is if I have the anterior tilt, whether I'm standing or on the ground in all fours, is doing some very, very, very direct hip tilts where I'm letting the hips go an anterior tilt as much as possible, but then you exhale and you stick your tailbone to the sky by contracting these obliques and your glutes. So gain the full range of motion first, and then you're gonna honestly be feeling a lot more core just by doing that. I like to think some of the exercises I'll show you in a little bit, Rebecca, they strengthen the core as well.
Thank
Any
you.
other quick questions? Of course. Yes, tomorrow. I see you.
Um, Okay, so I have a question. So this happens to a lot of women during pregnancy and then even years later where they're told to do Kegel exercises because the bladder, the bladder just becomes weaker. Do you have any thoughts on that, or do you talk to pregnant women or postpartum women about that?
Absolutely. I don't have problems with Kegels. I teach variations of Kegels. But when it comes to mother and labor and delivery, we teach a lot more of the relaxation part of it, of relaxing that space down there, rather than so much of aggressive tension down there. Because during delivery, you don't really want to tense and tight that area. You need to learn how to relax it. So if anything, if we teach Kegels, we teach it at the beginning of the pregnancy, and then we do it more so in the postpartum term. Does that make sense, Simone?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's perfect. Yeah, you have to relax there.
Yeah,
No,
that's the big thing tomorrow. And how about this? I'd love to just show you a brief example of what we teach for labor and delivery, just an example of our push practice, because this is pretty informational and I hope you share it. But women, the first stage of labor is called the latent phase. And the latent phase is also clinically termed as a fight versus flight stage. That first initial contractions that you have, it either spikes you into the parasympathetic or the sympathetic mode where you're stressed the heck out, or you're taking it a little bit more with ease. And it's actually when the majority of cortisol, the stress hormone, floods your body. So in that first moments of your first contraction, if you're able to handle it with greater ease, by law, you're going to have a less stress delivery. So let me make an example. I hope you all don't laugh at me too much. But imagine I'm a pregnant woman who's in her latent phase, her initial contractions, and she has no idea how to breathe. She has no idea how to deal with the contraction pains. She's probably going to freak out and look like this. She's going to go like, right? Kind of like blowing up her head cavity, blowing up her chest cavity. And if you saw what I was doing with my wrists, I was creating an internal rotation with my wrist. And quite literally, you're internalizing your body's pressure. And what is the goal of labor and delivery? It's to get that pressure in that baby to go down and out. So if you even think about the fetal position, what happens? That you curl up in a ball and you protect yourself. This is the scared reaction. I'm not ready to push. I don't know what's going to happen. So we teach women how to do the quite opposite, how they utilize this external rotation, which creates an external flow of pressure, and women are so much more prepared to push. And that's why we've had such great success. So again, yeah, just learning how to pressurize and breathe and relax. I know we were talking about Kegels, but the biggest thing is knowing where to relax and also where to opportunistically contract to help you create a greater overall pressure. So, anyways, that's a great question. Let me
Thank you.
absolutely. Again, I can talk about this stuff all day. Is there any other questions, real quick? Because I'd love to talk about the breathing stuff now, because this is what I'm very passionate about as well. Okay, so the breath. The breath is so important because, correct me if I'm wrong, for those that have autistic children, isn't asthma one of the complications as well? I often read that breathing problems, along with the social and communication challenges, sometimes asthma is into play. But the reason I bring it up, I struggled with asthma I just turned 30, but until I was 23, 24, and I started to learn all this stuff, I had severe asthma, I had severe anxiety, I was a mouth breather, and I didn't know what the heck, functional breathing meant. So let me start with the rib cage, and I'll go about talking about breathing at rest. I want to talk about breathing during exercise and even a principle called weighted breathing. But anyways, this is really cool to know. Anyone in this kyphotic posture, like I said, tends to have a hard time getting a full functional breath because you are decreasing in front of your rib cage. When you fix this good posture and learn how to lift your sternum, you're immediately able to breathe into the frontal lobes of your lungs and everything. So posture is a huge part, but learning the dynamics of the rib cage is huge. So this is a cool thing I like to teach. The back of your rib cage is called the ribs of inspiration. The ribs of inspiration are supposed to come like this as you breathe, out and around. And then the front of your rib cage is called the ribs of expiration, and they're supposed to come like this as you exhale. They're supposed to corset in a sense. So for anyone who has asthma, for anyone who has anxiety, for anyone who has any kind of a breathing or performance issue at all, to assess their breathing, I bet you they'd probably just be either mouth breathers, or just not really acknowledging how to breathe through the nose particularly, but they're only breathing on this front side of their body, just a breath like this. You've heard of chest breathers or mouth breathers. They're only expanding here. Very rarely, until you practice, are you able to start to expand the back ribs. So everyone, let's try this together. Exercise number 1, I want you to put your hands on your rib cage. And I'm certified in this practice called Oxygen Advantage. If you're taking notes again, there's note number 2, research Oxygen Advantage. Oxygen Advantage is a discipline all about breathing and really solely doing it through your nose. We're neuro people here, so you should understand there's the parasympathetic and the sympathetic state. It is extremely well researched that if you breathe through your mouth throughout the day, while you rest, while you exercise, you are normally stuck in the sympathetic state. You are over breathing and you're probably stressing yourself more than ever. So if you want to go note number 3, it's please breathe through your nose, very soft, low, and light. That's one of the oxygen advantage sayings, soft, low, and light. So breathing through the nose, not so big and gusto like this, but being so light and soft, but still expansive with your breath to where you can barely hear yourself, and really getting those rib cage to move. So let's go hands to the ribs. And I just want you to practice expanding back here to where your kidneys live as well, but expanding into the back of the rib cage and then feeling a soft exhale like your rib cage is coming together, of course, setting. So let's do like a 4-second inhale, 6-second exhale. So very light and into the width of your hands. And then exhaling and feeling like it truly corsets. There's this cliche saying that if you do it right, breathing can be a core exercise, and they're absolutely right. So I'm very, I love teaching about this because I'm very thankful to say I don't deal a single lick with asthma. I have zero anxiety, and my performance is through the roof because I know how to functionally breathe. And someone straight up told me, Andrew, you need to close your mouth and you have to learn how to breathe through your nose. So with your family tonight and forever, with especially those with children on the autistic spectrum, watch the way they breathe. Again, I guarantee 99% of the time, if you didn't tell them to right now, they're going to be breathing with their mouth. And we want to start helping them from a very cellular and very foundational level. I'm here to tell you, your friend Andrew is telling them, point, this is what I do with all my trainees. Instead of me correcting them throughout the day, all I do is point at the nose. And that's my friendly reminder then, close your freaking mouth and learn how to breathe through the nose better. You're going to I guarantee if you practice yourself, you're going to notice a difference. You're going to be at a much lower temperance. You're going to have more patience. You're going to feel more energy. So the breathing is really key. Let me move on real quick. I'd love to talk about weighted breathing because this could do wonders for children or adults with autism as well. Weighted breathing is when you lay basically flat on the floor, and it's like the weighted blanket effect to where weight feels good. If you're in a very relaxed state, having something lay on you, it feels good. So here's my recommendation, and try it out with yourself and everyone that you like. Find a medicine ball, find somewhat of a heavy sandbag or anything that's not sharp, but going to be comfortable putting on your belly. And I want you just to lay down and let the weight, basically it's a diaphragmatic push-up. If you just breathe through your nose for about 40 seconds to a minute and a half, and you let the weight be a tool for your diaphragm to really expand, you're going to stand up. Your core and back is going to feel amazing. And I guarantee you're going to feel at complete peace. So before you exercise, before you go start your workday, after you start your workday, try out weighted breathing. You can Google that, YouTube it, and you'll find a lot of stuff as well. But we use that with everybody. So any quick questions about breathing, because I'm about to move into all the movement and exercise stuff, but any quick questions or any comments on the breathing?
Yeah, for the weighted breathing, how how often would you do it, for how long, and what would you recommend?
Good question. I do it before and I recommend it before exercise because everybody foam rolls their back, they foam roll their leg, but you know what? Not everybody prepares before exercise is their core. Not a lot of people foam roll their core. So to get your core muscles, your obliques, all your deep core muscles warmed up and engaged, it's really beneficial before a workout. And again, I would do it, Rebecca, maybe like 2 to 3 rounds of 45 seconds to a minute. And then you do take like a 20, 30-second break in between those rounds.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm. Absolutely.
That's it.
Any other quick questions about the breath? None? We're good? Yeah. Watch the way people breathe. It will show you a lot about how much at stress they are and how when they do learn how to functionally breathe through their nose, inhaling and exhaling through their nose, you're going to change. You're going to see the change. Okay, so let's get into the movement stuff, and then I'd like to show you 3 key BOSU exercises that are gonna rock your world. And I'll make this short and simple and quick because I know I'm almost coming up on my time. Um, how about this? I'll demonstrate number 1. This is just called it replicates a fire, or excuse me, it replicates like a cat-cow stretch. But one of the greatest thing that your spine needs is full expression of flexion and extension. You all who hopefully everybody's got a pet or has had a pet before, a cat or a dog. What do they do in the morning? They do this big stretch where they go down and they flex and then they come up and they extend their spine. It's called undulation. It's again, it's full expression of your spine and flexion and extension. So if you're really going to do any bit of movement at all to warm up or really just your exercise for the day, let's do this together seated. It's basically an exercise where you just extend your hands and do try turning your thumbs down. You're going to start to feel your core, and you can even round here. You can let your back round, but then you turn your thumbs out. You lift this sternum up, and you squeeze, squeeze, squeeze your back. So one more time, if you inhale here, and then let's practice that thoracic extension by lifting your sternum to the sky and squeezing your back. This is good for your whole spine. This is good for your brain as well. This is teaching you how to contract both sides of your body, the anterior core, your core, and then your back. So if there's any movement that you should do it for your spine. That little, we call it the fire and ice stretch, is a good one. Dana, real quick, Rebecca, real quick. Are we capping this at 1 o'clock exactly?
I think we can go a few minutes over. I don't mind.
Okay, I won't take too much longer. I do just want to share these last exercises. The one last exercise that I could show you is, again, this is the staple for the pregnancy. This is a staple for anyone with a neuro disability. This is a staple for anybody, but it's learning that spinal engine effect. It's learning how to create this figure eights with your spine. So by placing your hands together, and I'll tell you the immediate benefits. If you practice this, you're learning how to balance yourself better. You're going to get your core and back stronger, and you're going to immediately learn how to walk better. Because if you watch actually not only the way people breathe, but if you watch the way people walk, normally when people walk, their whole mid spine doesn't move at all. It's very stable. Very rarely do you see somebody walking around with a swagger like they're walking down the runway, but it actually tends to be beneficial. Anyways, if we do this together real quick, hands together, and we're just going to do a figure eight, like a reverse circle on each elbow. If you see me do a circle this elbow, circle this elbow, you're going to start to feel your spine open up and bend. So let's go for about 8 seconds and you just breathe through your nose. But notice these dramatic side bends as I do my reverse circles. And I'm drawing this big figure eight for 3, 2, and 1. For anyone that's on the spectrum, learning the balance of crossing the midline of the body is huge in terms of helping their balance. So that is one of the first exercises I would teach, again, a pregnant woman or anyone with autism, is learning how to cross the midline. And that figure eight is a great one. Okay. I'll do this in less than 5 minutes. I'm going to demonstrate now 3 BOSU exercises. And again, I'll switch up the camera right now, but we're literally in the house of look how cool this gym is, everyone. We got a pro fighter's cage. We got the gym floor there. But let me just set up so you can see me on the BOSU ball. Okay. Let's let's do that for right now.
It's
The
pretty
BOSU ball is right here. So exercise number one that I'd like to demonstrate, let's go back a little bit, is just a BOSU squat. Again, for anyone on the spectrum, the balance of learning how to get and center into the midline is huge. So whether it's at full standing or at a lower squat, it would be here and learning how to compress the ball. By compressing the ball, you're turning on all your adductors, you're learning how to balance the feet and ankle, and you're getting your core and glutes strong. So exercise number one is just a BOSU squat. Well, you stay here for upwards of 10 to 15 seconds and really learn how to compress through the feet. That's exercise number one. It's a great one. Exercise number two, let me scoot this back just real briefly. Exercise number two would be doing a BOSU march. So simply standing atop the ball and having the balance of marching in place. Doing unilateral exercises when you're on one leg is huge for anyone's balance. You can start to load this up. Let's say you have like a small dumbbell or a small kettlebell. You can start to progress this by doing offset loaded marching, and that's going to challenge the balance even more. Exercise number three would be, this obviously isn't for pregnant women. This one would be for anybody, anyone else except them, is just a simple back extension. Because in my mind, that squat, that isometric or compressive squat, that's a core exercise. That BOSU march that I just did, that's a core exercise. Now to hit the posterior chain, one of the foremost exercises is a back extension. And again, if anybody that has this kyphotic rounded posture, they normally have really weak erectors, lower back, and really weak glutes. So the first and foremost exercise for that would be a back extension. I'll demonstrate this. So if my belly button goes to the middle of the ball, my legs extend straight. And I have to learn how to straighten my legs out, squeeze my glutes, lift my chest up, and I can do like a snowman exercise or a snowman action with my arms and then come down. So one more time, it's engaging the glutes, the lower back, lifting my chest up, and then I go all the way out, all the way back. And then, oh my gosh, your back and your glutes are going to be turned on quite well. So that's what I got for you all today, my friends. I really, here's some recommendations for you, and then we can log off. Number one, definitely move your spine. Definitely try that fire and ice in the center 8 exercise. And then if you're lucky enough to have a BOSU ball, try the BOSU squats, try that standing march, and then try that back extension. And I guarantee your core and back are going to be pretty strong. So that's what I got in a nutshell when it comes to exercises, everyone. I thank you so much for letting me ramble and talk about all this stuff for this whole time. But hopefully you maybe got one little golden nugget out of today that's going to make you just live overall healthier and stronger. So let's open up real quick for Q&As real quick before we have to get done, of course. Is there anybody that has any questions?
Yes, Emily had a question in the chat. She said, how many reps of each of those would you recommend?
Good question. That could be a whole workout right there, is the BOSU squat, the march, and the back extension. So if you did 3 sets of each exercise, the BOSU squat can be about 5 to 8 reps. The BOSU march, make that like 20 to 30 seconds. And the back extension, that should match the squat. So upwards of 5 to 8 times.
Perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely welcome.
This was
Any
so
other-
much fun.
No, I know I seriously, that hour went by too quick and I could do this for so much longer.
Andrew, when you said you weighted breathing, I know I can Google it, but where do you put the medicine ball on your body?
Weighted breathing, you put it right on your belly. You put it
Oh,
right above your diaphragm. So don't put it over your heart. You put it lower, like at the top, or excuse me, the bottom of your rib cage.
okay. So then lower than your belly button?
Do try different places. We use kettlebells as well. So I would try like right underneath my rib cage here. I would go to the space in between the hip and the lowest rib. I would go right in the lower corner of my belly button, and clockwise, I'd go up in that same space. If you hit this space, this space, this space, this space, this space, you're gonna find some areas, I bet, on the sides of the belly button that are particularly tight. So try all areas, is what I'm saying.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Awesome. And I do just want to say Karen Wright said, thank you for sharing your vast knowledge. You are a gift.
Thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate that. It's pretty fun what I do. My job is just it's very fulfilling.
And how
Um,
can they learn? Oh, I'll do tomorrow's question first. Any tips on protein sources? Proteins.
um, I'm the I'm not gonna say I'm on the carnivore diet, but I'm really on the natural side of like I eat the most simplest diet. I eat a lot of meat, a lot of fruits, and very little carbs. I'm much of a fruitarian as you can sense, but I try to stay away from a lot of like the store-bought protein shakes because they have so much fillers. And I'm really on just staying to the cleanest proteins that I can and just eating the right lean meats.
Good to know.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I just one last thing I wanted to tell you that in the chat I did put my friend's information.
Okay, thank you so much, Tamar.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
Of course, it was my pleasure.
And how can people learn more about you or find out more about Built Well?
Perfect. So we actually, for those that are local, we do service live training in this beautiful gym downtown East Village. It's a private facility. We have a parking lot. We're quite lucky here. So we have live training, we have online programming, and then you can definitely reach me via my social media at Andrew Martinez 1320 or on the Built Well for Birth page. And then our website is builtwellforbirth.com, www.builtwellforbirth.com. And here's what I wanted to communicate as well before you let me off is I don't come to any party empty-handed. I like to offer something. And here's what I can offer. And you can range this whenever the heck you'd like, Dana, is number one, if you want to do, if you, anybody here wants to do another session, let's say a month or two or next year, and learn some pregnancy specific exercises or more on the neurodiverse side, talk about balance and strength for those of that, like, I'd be happy to run this back and host like a little workshop. And then the last thing that I have to offer as well is we've recently filmed a postpartum fitness workshop at F45 Gym. And it's a 40-minute seminar of me teaching all things postpartum fitness and health. And if you're interested, send an email to Dana or Rebecca, and I'll forward that postpartum workshop to you. I think it's pretty informative. So that's what I got to offer everybody that joined today.
Thank you. That's perfect. We do a recap every Friday. We send out an e-blast to everybody who registered for this Lunch and Learn and also just our community. And it has all the resources. So I can include it in there as well.
Perfect. Well, Dana, thank you again. Rebecca, thank you again. Everyone that's joined, it was a pleasure talking with you. And I commend you all to doing some amazing work in this organization. That's pretty cool what you all do.
Thank you. I'd love to take a group picture with everyone before we go.
Absolutely.
If you
Amy, can we see your face?
Adela too.
Hi, Amy.
Hi, Amy. Okay, wonderful. Just big smiles.
Wait, Adela's coming. Hi, Adela.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Perfect. Yay.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I feel like this was the most
Absolutely.
beautiful way we could have possibly ever imagined starting our new year. Everybody's namaste, right?
Good. Thank you
you.
so much.
I'm counting this as a huge blessing today, Andrew. Thank you so much.
Good,
Appreciate
good.
you and all you
Thank you
do
so
and all
much.
your passion.
We'll have to hang out soon.
Yes, please. Happy New Year,
Absolutely.
everybody. Lots of love.
Have a great week.
Talk soon, everyone.